Good evening, track gang. This happens to be, well, let me go ahead and back up a second because I've already goofed this up. Good evening, track gang. This happens to be vlog number 9 for 2021, and it happens to be Monday, March the 1st of 2021. This is the Boeville, Newtown. I'm Ray Boeville for those who have not met me yet, for all the new subscribers that may be coming in or showing up. Not so much of a layout update this week, although we are going to eventually go back into the work area, and I've got a couple things to fix. Sidetrack Sunday for me was last night, and we were talking about passenger cars and RDCs and things of that nature, and well, my RDC decided it was going to take a little bit of a tumble this afternoon as I was trying to put it back on the layout. The neat little drawbar that I put between the RDC3 and the RDC1 decided that it was going to snap. And the RDC3 ended up on the floor. Thankfully, it ended up on the rubber matting that I put back here behind the hidden yards. So nothing got broke other than the drawbar. So we're going to do an upgrade on that drawbar. Each time I do that drawbar, I come up with a different plan for it. So we'll see how this next one works out. The other thing that I wanted to touch on real quick was that this was the first time in probably, I'm going to say maybe 2 months, that I was able to get in and listen to Jenny Kirk over in England, across the pond. For those that are joining, I've joined the channel from over there. Thank you. Welcome aboard. But one of the things that she has is she's a promoter of the hobby. First and foremost, a promoter of the hobby, and there's a lot of folks over there, herself included, that are very into a lot of what we do over here as far as U.S. railroads, American railroads. And one of the things, as I was watching a couple of their videos this afternoon that they had picked up, was, you know, these layouts that they're showing are completely scenic and so on and so forth. And I kind of made the comment that, you know what, I'm really not at that point. That was when I was basically told, send over your video. Okay, fine. So what I'm going to do after I make the fixes to those couple of locomotives that gave me a problem after the last ops session, along with the RDC now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a video specifically for their modeling chat that they do over there, and we'll see how that goes. You all obviously will not see that video until it actually airs over there, but if you get a chance to catch it, great. If not, then we can always catch the replays. But her channel link will be in the description below, and along with the link to last night's Sidetrack Sunday, which was that was a blast, as it always is. You know, at one point in time, I had 41 people in the chat, which was outstanding. I think that was a new record for me. I think I usually average between 25 and 30. So hitting 41 was a big mark. Thank you all that joined in for that nuttiness last night. We went over some DC track wiring, and we went over passenger cars, the different types of passenger cars. And of course, I forgot about these that are sitting over here in the passenger terminal, because there is a REA and an RPO sitting over here on the Baltimore and Ohio train. I'll have to, at some point, maybe I'll pull them up so you all can see them. But that was just a good time. And Jason mentioned something that he wants to start doing, which is getting folks within the community. Jason the Train Freak, and his channel will be below too. Obviously, because he's a part of the Sidetrack Sunday crew, but one of the things that he talked about was possibly getting some folks that on his show to talk about railroads, class 1, short lines, fallen flags, whatever. So if you happen to be a fan of the Pennsylvania, for instance, you might want to go ahead and hit Jason up. If you're a fan of the Baltimore and Ohio, the chassis system, you might want to go ahead and if you know some history behind the railroad, go ahead and hit up Jason the Train Freak, because one of the things that he wants to start doing on his live shows is talking about the railroads, their history, where they were, where they went, what are they a part of now, where did they come from? For me, obviously, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a big Baltimore and Ohio and Pennsy fan. Baltimore and Ohio because that happens to be where I'm from. Baltimore because that's where I'm from. But I've always been a fan of the Pennsy because of their big electrics. So, you know, that's kind of my thing. And eventually on the wall over here behind the dispatcher station, there's going to be something fairly unique put up, and I haven't started putting it together yet. But years ago, my wife's uncle worked for the CSX, shuttling train crews in and out of Cumberland, Maryland. Hot Rod Rodney would probably be somewhat familiar with that, because he's up in that area. But he shuttled train crews back and forth via vans and such. Up in the Cumberland and down to, I don't know where else he was down at, but I know that he did a lot of work out in Western Maryland shuttling crews around. And he got a hold of the map of the CSX, specifically in the Maryland area, the Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, so on and so forth. And eventually I'm going to put that on the wall over here. Even though that's more modern to what I'm running, a lot of those lines that the CSX used existed when this railroad, the Boeville and Newtown, was around, 1950 to 1970, 75. So that'll be one of those neat things to have up on the wall. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and stop here for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and take the camera back to the workbench, and we're going to work on a couple pieces of rolling stock and a couple of locomotives that decided that they didn't want to work after the last operating session, after I got the track work finalized and the cork and the foam roadbed down, which to this point is working out rather well. I mean, I'm extremely happy with how things have laid out here. So with that being said, we'll be back in a bit. Alright, we'll see how well this works out, but that is what I've built so far. So this here goes on one of the RDCs, and I'm about to cut this back. Well, I'm about to put it on the loop for the other side, and then I'll cut off the excess. And as you can see, this here was the Athearn RDC with its decommissioned rubber band drive, and I've talked about this last night on Sidetrack Sunday, how I left everything in place. I just took off the parts that would make it actually work electrically. And this here is where that old drawbar was, and you can see that the wire just snapped. That's all there was to it. So I got to take that off and put the new one on. So we'll just unscrew the screw, put the screw off to the side for the moment, and that can go right in the garbage, because that's not even useful anymore. And then for the RDC3, because this is the RDC1, this here is the RDC3, and the way you can tell the difference is the RDC3s have got a baggage door, and the RDC1s do not. These are strictly passenger. This one here happens to be for the Baltimore and Ohio, the other one's a Western Pacific. But regardless, we've got to take the screw out of this, And I've got to make sure that when I put this back together, that everything is back where it belongs. So one side it'll have to be up and the other side will have to be down as far as these lugs go. So I'm sliding the new lug in. I'm going to get it lined up to where they're pretty much opposite of one another. I'm going to take my crimping tool and I'm going to crimp it twice, because that's kind of what I did with the last one. And then of course you see that we've got a little bit of extra wire hanging out here. That's not a problem. We'll take our snips and just snip it off. And then we will go ahead and put our screws back in here. Alright, that takes care of the RDC1. Let's see if we can get the RDC3 over here. Yeah, I basically used the same parts that I had. Obviously, I couldn't use the same lugs because the lugs were no more good because the wire snapped off inside of them. But as far as the splice, if you're all wondering what I was talking about, this is what I used. This is what would be considered a butt splice, where you would put wire in one end, put wire in the other end, and then you would crimp it down, and that would be your splice. But what I did is the wire that I'm using, this here happens to be 12 gauge, or I'm sorry, no, it's 16 gauge. And the wire is actually small enough that it can go all the way through without crimping it, which is what I wanted. I don't want that middle post or that middle piece crimped. I just want it to kind of float in there, I guess, for lack of a better term. So now we can put the RDC, preferably put the right end, put it back together the correct way. Maybe. Maybe not. There we go. There we go. And then these are the steps. And they just kind of sit up inside of there. That's one set of steps. We'll see how long these stay on, because to be honest, I have had issues with the steps not wanting to stay on this RDC. And I'm not 100% sure why that is. But they're on there for the moment. So we can set him right side up. And of course this only goes on in one direction. And I'm trying to put it on backwards. Alright, why are you being such a pain? There we go. Alright. So, that wasn't nice. Really? Already? Alright. We'll be back. Okay, so after it came apart, we finally got it back together again. So this was now good. I'm going to claim victory and move on to the other issues that we've got here. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to close that up before that causes any problems. Much like the front steps have on the RDC 3. I had issues with a couple of locomotives and a couple of cars, so we're just going to run over these real quick. See if I can figure out what the heck was going on. See if we can figure out why this particular piece of rolling stock wanted to jump. And I think I see why. Okay, so this is going to need... And yes, I'm still using plastic wheels. I get it. I know. I understand. Trust me. But that's another thing that's really not in the budget at the moment. To go ahead and start converting everything over. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm actually looking to see if I've got another set. Actually, I'm going to need 2 sets. But we'll see if this set is any better. Because those wheels were wobbling. They're not exactly in round. And that coupler was no good. This might become a problem. Because I'm starting to run low on these old style horn hooks. There we go. Alright, let's take another look at this side here. There we go. And we should be straight. So that should be good. The only thing that was wrong with this is the fact that the coupler came apart and I couldn't fix it out there. So we'll fix it back here. And what do I do with there's the parts. Okay, so the press fit piece doesn't press fit no more. Yeah, that's not going to stay together. Okay, that's going to take a little bit more work to fix that tank car. All right. Next, the only thing that was wrong with this is it kept jumping. And I figured that it was out of gauge, and it is. And it's a little too close back here. There we go. He should be better. This one here was just running slow, and of course I don't have my stuff back here. I took all my test leads out of here yesterday to do the stuff for Sidetrack Sunday, so we'll have to stop here for a minute and we'll be back. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. Jeez. I'm not even sure if I'm in the right spot because I'm not used to doing this from this angle. But anyway, I kind of got things straightened out. I got the Rock Island U-boat running again. I didn't show everything because some of that stuff was just basic maintenance that needed to be done. You know, just trying to get things, trying to get the stuff cleaned up a little bit. That Rock Island locomotive has been giving me issues in the past, and it still gives me issues from time to time. And for whatever reason, like I said, I think I know what the issue is. It's a carbon buildup that ends up on the commutator, and I have to go in there and wipe it down. I think what happened at one point in time, some oil got on there, and the brushes just keep wiping it back on there, and I just have to keep wiping it off. I thought I had it, but apparently I didn't, and this last time I tried to run it, it didn't want to run. Took it back here, got it straightened out again. We'll see what happens. But the rest of it was easy. We'll see what happens. So you all know the deal. Oh, you know what? Before I forget it, thank you to all my subscribers, my patrons, and my folks that have supported me through Teespring. Greatly appreciated. All that you go ahead and put into either the paypal.me, and all these links are below. The paypal.me, the Teespring, or Patreon, it all goes back to you all. I don't take, I'm taking, I shouldn't say that it all goes back, because there is a little bit that I am using, or I am going to use for tech, to go ahead and help my tech side out a little bit. You know, the light and so on and so forth. But other than that, everything else goes back to you, and we're talking maybe 1 or 2% is what I'm taking. Everything else, another 99% is coming right back to you all. And there will be a contest coming up. It'll probably be the end of March. I've been holding 405 subscribers for the last couple of weeks. So I will have a contest coming up, probably, like I said, the end of March. March is not a good month for me. So we'll see what happens there. But you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Be safe. God bless. We will see ya.